Good morning, scientists. Let's start today by looking at the paper that we waterlogged yesterday. We got it all filled. We submerged the paper in the water and we got it waterlogged. Let's see what happened. First of all, our wax paper. If we look, the waxy surface kept this paper. If I shake it out, if I dry it off with a piece of paper towel, when I pull it out, look at this. It is exactly the same as when I left it. Could you tell that that had been in water overnight? I couldn't. It looks exactly the same. The waxy finish kept that paper from getting waterlogged. Let's look at the others. Let's take out the corrugated paper. That looks very wet. If I dry it on a newspaper, if I try to take a paper towel and pat it dry, look how much water got absorbed. If I put it down, does it still look wet? It sure does. It sure does. And wet paper is much easier. Look how easy that is to tear now. It's so much easier to tear. It is wet. It looks wet. It feels wet. Let's look at our corrugated cardboard. Oh, it's soaky wet. It is so wet. Let me dry it off with the paper towel. And you can actually look. Can you see that water? If I squeeze, that water is coming right out of it. That's how much water got into that corrugated cardboard. And now, look how easy it is to separate the layers. Look, the one sheet of paper comes right off, leaving that. It's easy to separate the layers of cardboard now because the glue has dissolved from being in the water. So let's leave that there and go back to our water. This is our chipboard. This was our cereal box. Again, we can soak the water. It is, no matter what, you can look, it still looks wet. And it is very easy to tear. The water has made that paper super soft. And you can definitely tell it was in the water. Let's look at the newspaper. Let me see, it's sticking to the others. Shake it off. Let's wring it out there. We'll squeeze out the water. Look at that newspaper. Shake, shake, shake. And we will dry it off with the paper towel. But no matter what, it still looks wet. Do you see the dry newspaper compared to this newspaper? Look at that. It is wet looking. It doesn't look the same. It still looks like it's holding some water in it. How about the tag board? Oh, it's hard to get these. Nope. All right, I got the construction paper instead. Let's squeeze out the water. If we put that down on the newspaper, can you tell that that is wet? Does it look wet? It does. No matter what, it looks wet. How about the tag board? Let's look at, do you see how easy it is to fold when it's wet? Look at this. Could I have crumpled it up like this when it was dry? No way. No way. Let's unfold it and put it down. Can you tell that the tag board is wet? You can. Look at this, how easy it is to bend. Look at the paper, how different it is. How different it is when it's wet. What about the craft paper? That's that brown paper bag. Get rid of all the water. Squeeze it out. Again, look how easy it is to crumple it up to like a ball. Does that look wet? It does. You can tell. Do brown paper bags look like this, all shiny like this? No, you can tell it's wet. Now, in here is our tissue and our paper towel. It's hard to tell which is which. Oh, I can tell because we wrote on the paper towel. This must be the paper towel because it is writing on it. We're going to look at this. Look how tiny, and we can make that into this teeny tiny. Now, I don't know if I can unfold it without ripping it. Look, oh my goodness, this paper is so hard to unfold. I had to use 2 hands. Does it look like the paper towel? Not really. It really has changed a lot. Oh, it's so tiny. It's so hard to spread out, but I'm going to try to spread that out on the newspaper. Now look what happened to the tissue. It was a 2-ply tissue and it got separated. The tissue was all together, and now look at this. Do you think I'm going to be able to wring out the water and make it look like a tissue again? Look at this. I can wring out the water. Let me see if I can make it a tissue again. Look at that. Well, I wasn't able to totally make it look like a tissue again. So here's what we're going to do, scientists. We're going to leave this on the newspaper and see if we can dry it out and make it look the way it looked before it got wet. Now, for today, we have a different lesson. Here is our focus question. It says, how can new paper be made from old paper? That's what we're learning today. Are you ready to make new paper from old paper? Well, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to get a jar and fill it about halfway with water. And then we're going to get 8 squares of toilet paper. Now, this is not used toilet paper. This is obviously new toilet paper, but it's considered old paper. It's paper that's already made. And toilet paper is very thin, so we're going to use that. We're going to put the paper into, now we're going to show you how they do it when they recycle paper. They actually take the old sheets of paper that you recycle and they put them into liquid to turn it from paper into pulp. So I'm going to put the paper in here and I'm going to put the cap on and I'm going to shake. And this paper will turn into pulp after, you can see it actually start to break down already. After just a few shakes, you can see that the paper starts to dissolve and turn into pulp. I'm going to keep shaking. Take a look. I just kept shaking it. It looks like it really has changed into pulp already. Now we have paper pulp. This is obviously not paper that you could do any writing on. This is just the broken down paper, the pulp. And now I'll show you how to make it into new paper. We are going to make new paper from the old paper. We need a screen. I'm using this colander, and I'm going to use this little bowl to press the water out. So take a look. I'm going to take my jar of paper pulp, and we're going to dump it into the screen. And the screen strains out the water, leaving just the pulp. Do you see the pulp? And now I'm going to take my bowl and press out more water. Press out more water. Do you see the water coming out? Press it out. Press it out. And what's left right here is a sheet of pulp that if we dry it out, this will actually become new paper. So I'm going to lay it flat. Actually, it's still a little wet. I might press out a little more water. Press it out. It has to get all the water out. I don't have the right materials to do this. We actually have stuff at school I didn't bring home. Okay, so here is our paper, and we're going to lay it flat, and the next time we get together for science, you'll see that new paper and how we can actually write on it. And that will be really cool. You can do this experiment at home also. You can take 8 squares of toilet paper, or however many you want, and you can make pulp like we did, and then strain out all the water, press it really hard to make a sheet of new paper. So how did I do this in my science notebook? I glued my focus question, how can new paper be made from old paper? And I wrote the word recycle because that's what we saw today. We saw old paper be made into paper pulp, P-U-L-P, pulp, and then it went through a screen, and then it came out as new paper that was dried and then can be used as paper. You can try this experiment at home if you want to make new paper from old paper. Have a great day, scientists.